Hello students, today in this video we are dealing with chapter number 4 of our book Vistas. The name of the story is The Rattrap, which is written by Selma Lagerlof. This story conveys a universal message that essential goodness in a human being can be awakened through understanding and love. In this picture, you can see a man with rat traps. What a rat trap is? It is a device for catching rats. But here in the story, this word rat trap symbolizes a situation that offers no prospect of improvement. Rat trap seller in the story is central character who leads a very poor life as his earnings are very low. He went around selling small rat traps. His clothes were in rags. His cheeks were hollow. He had the look of a starved man. He made wire traps. Sometimes he did petty thieveries also to survive. He had no home, no shelter. The peddler has a pessimistic attitude towards the world. One day, he was struck with a sudden realization that the whole world is a rat trap and it offers riches as bait. Now, let's see what does this word bait means. Bait is a food that we put in the hook or in a trap in order to catch fish, rats, etc. As you can see in the picture, a rat has been trapped. Next, let's know about author. Selma Lagerlof was a teacher. She narrated the story Rat Trap in the manner of a fairy tale and gives the message that emotions of love and acceptance can reform others. Let's start the summary of the rat trap. Once there was a man who used to sell small rat traps made of wire. These rat traps were made by him in his free time. He used to collect the material required by begging from stores or big farms. Still, his business was not earning him any profits. Therefore, he had to beg or steal in order to survive. His clothes were old and torn. His cheeks were lowered inside due to malnutrition, and one could easily see the hunger in his eyes. The life of the rat trap seller was very sad and boring. He was homeless and slowly, with heavy feet, he walked along the road, lost in his own thoughts. But one day he got lost in a series of thoughts which he found very interesting. The man was thinking about the rat trap and suddenly a thought came to his mind that the whole world, which includes land, seas, cities, and villages, was similar to a rat trap. He thought that there was no meaning of existence of this world. It was nothing but a temptation, just like cheese and pork, which we offer as bait to catch the rat. So according to him, as soon as someone tries to comfort himself with joy, food and shelter, he at once gets trapped into this rat trap, which is known as world. No one in the world had ever been kind to the rat trap seller. So he started thinking ill of others. It became a favorite pastime for him. During dull moments, these thoughts made him happy. So he continued with thinking ill of those who were known to him. He would imagine those people who were already trapped in the rat trap of worldly things, and also those who were about to get trapped in it. One evening, the rat trap seller was walking very slowly. He saw a little grey cottage by the road. He went up to the cottage and knocked at the door to get shelter for the night. Generally, he was not helped by anyone, but this time he was welcomed by the old man, who has been introduced in the characters as Old Crofter. So, let's see the meaning of the crofter. A crofter was somebody who rented a small farm with a plot of land and living in a house on it. Or you may say a tenant farmer who paid his tenancy with manpower instead of cash. So he went to the cottage of that old man, or the crofter you may say. He was a lonely old man without wife and kids. Means one similarity was there in the crofter and the beggar. Both of them were alone. The old man was very happy to get company that night, and then shared his tobacco with the guest. After this, both played cards till bedtime. In your text, this playing card is called Mazzolis. The rat trap seller felt that the old man was not only liberal in sharing his porridge, but also his secrets. He tells him that he was a rich man when he used to work on rented farm, but now, as he was old and could not work, he had to depend upon his cow for his living. The cow gave enough milk every day to be sold in the factory that produced cheese and cream. The old man said that he was able to earn 30 kronors last month because of the milk. The rat trap seller did not believe the old man's words that a cow could earn him so much. Therefore, the old man took a leather pouch which hung on a window and took out 3 notes of 10 kronor, each which were old and crushed. He showed those currency notes to make him believe his words and then kept them back in the pouch. Next morning, both the rat trap seller and the crofter woke up early, as the crofter was in a hurry to milk his cow. Even the rat trap seller felt that, as the owner of the house had awakened, so he should also leave the bed, though he wanted to sleep for some more time. They both came out of the cottage at the same time. The old man locked the door and went to his work. The rat trap seller also thanked him and went his own way. After about half an hour, the rat trap seller returned to the cottage and he broke down the window pane where the pouch hung. He took away the money, kept in his pocket, and put the pouch back at its place and walked off. Then the peddler was quite happy as he had money in his pocket. He then thought of walking through the forest, as it was unsafe to walk on the highway because he feared being caught. So, initially, it was not difficult to walk through the forest, but later on, it got confusing and he forgot his way. He tried hard to walk in the right direction, but in vain. At this point of time, he started thinking that now he himself was caught in the trap of the world just like other people. He was fooled by the bait of money which he had stolen from the old man's house. The forest seems like a prison full of trunks and branches. It was like an impassable prison. Impassable, which is impossible to travel. It was December and got dark early. His hope of escaping the forest reduced. The danger to his life increased, and there was no way left for him. He was so tired and terrified that he thought his end was near. As he laid his head on the ground, he heard a very strong regular sound. It was a hard sound that was coming at the regular intervals. He soon realized that these sounds were the sounds of hammer strokes from an iron mill. He thought that he could find some people nearby. With this thought, he gathered some strength and started walking with great difficulty towards the sound. The Ramso Iron Works was a large plant which has shut down few years ago. It had smelters, rolling mills, and a forge. In summer, long flat-bottomed boats carrying the materials would come down the canal, go to a large inland lake for supplying material to the mill. In winters, the road turned black because of the coal dust that came due to the transportation of the charcoal crates. Here in the picture, you can see the scene of the forge or the iron mill where iron is being melted. One evening near Christmas time, the master smith and his helper was sitting in the dark forge near the furnace, and he was wearing a shirt and a pair of wooden shoes. Both of them were waiting for the pig iron which was put inside the furnace fire to be ready to put onto the anvil. They took turns to stir the liquid, which was very hot. As they could bear the heat for a few minutes, each of them would return sweating profusely. It was due to these different types of sounds that the blacksmiths didn't realize that a man had opened the gate of the forge and had entered, till he came and stood near the furnace. Many homeless people used to get attracted to the lights of the forge, which peeked through the window panes, which were covered with the black powder of burnt coal. They would seek shelter there. They would warm themselves with the help of the burning fire. As the blacksmiths were accustomed to the visitors, they were indifferent to the man. They just looked at him. The Rattrap seller's appearance was similar to that of other wanderers. He had a long beard, was dirty, wore old worn out clothes, and had a bunch of rat traps hanging from his chest. The peddler tried to seek permission from the blacksmith to stay in the forge for a night. He allowed the peddler with an arrogant consent by just nodding and didn't say a single word to him. The peddler also said nothing because his main aim was to warm himself and sleep. The owner of the Ramso iron mill in those days was a very ambitious person whose aim was to sell only the finest iron into the market. Therefore, he used to keep a check on the workers both during the night and the day. The owner was on the night inspection visit when the peddler entered the forge. Here in these photographs, you can see the scene of smelting, rolling, and forging. So, unlike the blacksmiths, the iron master at once noticed the peddler was sitting so close to the furnace that steam was coming out of his torn clothes. As he was stuck in the jungle and it was the month of December. So the steam was coming out of his torn clothes. He not only went near him but also removed the wanderer's hat that was bent on one side so that he could see the man's face clearly. When the iron master took off the peddler's hat, he mistook him as an old acquaintance, Niels Olaf. The peddler didn't know him, nor had he seen this man before. But he thought that if this man mistook him as his old companion and gave him some money out of pity, then it would be a good thing. Therefore, he didn't let him know that he had mistaken him as Niels Olaf. So, the peddler started a conversation with the iron master by saying that things did not go well with him because he mistook him as his one of the colleague, right, in the army. To this, the iron master replied that he had made a big mistake by leaving the regiment. He also added that if he would have been working in the regiment when he resigned, he wouldn't have let him do so. Later on, he invited him to his home. So, we will continue with this video, with this story video, and till then, goodbye. But keep on reading, keep on growing. As reading is dreaming with open eyes, so keep reading and keep dreaming. Thank you.